Shavua Tov, Gute Woch. I am Rafael Rabinovich, and I want to tell tonight story number 193 of the Shivchei Baal Shem Tov, the oldest source of Baal Shem Tov stories ever published. Tonight's story, the title of the story is Makom Kvudas Rav Dovid Forkes, the place of the burial place of Rav Dovid Forkes. Says the author of the Shivchei Baal Shem Tov, Shamati, I heard from the Rav of our Kehila, Rav Gedalia Flinitz. He's the source of the story. Once, the Baal Shem Tov was in the community of Polnoi, and he traveled from there to the new city, to the new part of the city, and the road passed near the cemetery of the new city. And the Baal Shem Tov, so there was an Amut Esh, there was a column of fire over a kever, over a tombstone. So he sent his helper to check out the tombstone and see who's buried there. So it was written there that the tzaddik, Rav Moshe, Evet Hashem, was buried there. Evet Hashem meaning the servant of Hashem. That's what it says. So the Rav, the Baal Shem Tov, said that next to that kever would be buried Rav Dovid, certain man called Rav Dovid. And in the town there was a man called Rav Dovid, the Rav Dovid Tzeres. And he was very scared because he thought the Baal Shem Tov meant that he would die. The Baal Shem Tov told him, don't worry, you are not the Rav Dovid I'm talking about. Some 12 years after the Baal Shem Tov passed away, not 12 years after the story, 12 years after the Baal Shem Tov passed away, there was a Talmid of the Baal Shem Tov, a pupil of the Baal Shem Tov, Rav Dovid Forkes. He arrived in Polnoi for Shabbos Chazon. The Shabbos before Tisha B'Av, when we read the Haftarah Chazon Yeshayahu, the vision of Yeshayahu, so he came for the Shabbos, and he stopped with his carriage in front of the house of the Rav of the community, Rav Yaakov Yosef. He met him and asked him for permission to spend Shabbos in the new city. He went then to the house of the Rav of the new community of Polnoi, the new city of Polnoi, the new area, the Rav Magid, the Magid of Polnoi. And he did not find him there. He had gone, he was out of town for the weekend. And so he spent Shabbos there, and he didn't understand. He was so surprised, like, what am I here for? Because I was supposed to come to see the Rav Magid, who is a tzaddik. That was the purpose of my coming, and he's not here. But Shabbos already came, so he spent Shabbos there. Motzi Shabbos, when Shabbos finished, it was Tisha B'Av. He started feeling very, very weak. He called the Chevra Kadisha. He left a last will, and then he lay down in bed, and on Sunday he was dead. He was buried next to the kever of Rav Moshe Evet Hashem. When they were in the cemetery, they found that there was written in this tombstone, and they were all marveled, and they started telling the story around the city. And the mother of the Magid of Polnoi, the mother of the Machiach, that was the thing, the mother of the Machiach of Polnoi, who was very old, remember that the Baal Shem Tov has said 20 years earlier that next to this kever would be buried Rav Dovid. And then they realized it was Davar Hashem, it was divinely inspired words, it was prophetic words that the Baal Shem Tov has said. Next to this kever would be buried Rav Dovid. Rav Dovid had to be in that new city of Polnoi that weekend just because he was about to pass away, and he was supposed to be buried next to the kever of Rav Moshe Evet Hashem. In merit of all the stories I'm telling every Motzi Shabbos of the Baal Shem Tov, B'ezrat Hashem, may all the Jews, the Chatufim, the Jews who are in enemy hands, be rescued, saved, alive, in perfect condition, as good as is possible to get them, and without any further delays, without any costs, any conditions, any things to be paid in return. Simply may they be rescued. And may that corner of Eretz Yisrael return to Jewish hands. In merit of all the stories of the Baal Shem Tov, blessings to everyone as well, for everything. I have translated the entire book of the Shivchei Baal Shem Tov, and I'm telling the stories here in the channel, once in English and once in Spanish, 2 separate videos, as well as I'm working on the editing for publishing of the entire book. Here are the stories. I have the stories in Hebrew translated into Spanish with the hopes to have it published real soon. Contributions for these efforts, and if you would like to dedicate the book, please to write me. You can see links below. Shavua Tov, a gute Woche.